Morning, Coach Lunsford. How are you?
Great. How are y'all?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Coach, before we get to questions, can you just give us a few opening thoughts on last week's game against Georgia State and the upcoming Thursday night game against App State?
Well, last week was a rivalry game against Georgia State, and then this week is obviously another rival game against Appalachian State. And, last week did not turn out the way we wanted it. Guys played hard. We just made too many mistakes at the end with turnovers and was in a position to win the ball game but did not finish. And, so that's something that we want to improve on and make sure that we're getting better in those situations so that when we do get into that situation, we can finish. And then going into this game, it doesn't take much to get up for it because it is a rivalry game for us, and there's a long history between Appalachian State and Georgia Southern, so it'll be fun.
Thank you, Coach. We'll go to questions now from Ethan Joyce with the Winston-Salem Journal.
Hey, Coach, you kind of mentioned it there, but I know after the Georgia State game you mentioned that the team didn't know how to win yet. So where do you start as a coach, and especially as a guy who kind of gets thrown into, the spot you've been tossed into, and just trying to help this team learn how to win on the fly?
Well, there's a long history at Georgia Southern of winning ball games, and it's a rich tradition of that, and so that stuff along the years gets passed down, and the struggles that we've had between last year and then obviously this year, it's more of a belief thing, and I know we've got to really talk to our guys about, hey, when we get in a situation to finish off a game, you've got to have that confidence, you've got to have that swagger to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do and do your job. I felt like in the fourth quarter last week against Georgia State, we were right where we needed to be as far as being able to finish the game off, but we just pressed too much, and we should have, as long as we've done our job, and shoot, if worst thing happens, we have to punt, we punt. But, when you put the ball on the ground, that obviously puts you in a bad situation, and it's hard to overcome. So we just got to continue to talk about, you get yourself in a position where you have the lead and you need to run the clock out and take care of business. If your defense is playing great, there's nothing wrong as long as you hold on that football and you punt and let your defense go out there and win it for you.
And I know it's a quick turnaround, but did you kind of look at this stretch of playing a rival in Georgia State, playing a rival in App State as a chance or a stretch to re-energize everybody on the team? I feel like this is, for us, I think it's hitting at a good time because, when you have a transition like you do and coaching change and, you go into Troy with that first game as far as the transition happening and, the guys are a little bit unsettled and they're not sure, what's going on. The business side of things kind of comes out. And but Troy is a team that that we like to get up for and play against, and then you run into a rivalry game with Georgia State, and then the next one's Appalachian State. So it doesn't take much to get the guys going on that. Even though our record is not nearly what we expect around here, it kind of worked out good to have those three games right there, so that there is something to just get going about.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
No problem.
Ethan, thank you very much. We'll go to our next questions from Steve Baer with the Watauga Democrat. Steve, please go ahead.
Coach, good morning. Could you kind of talk about what App State does and the fact that they've lost their last two games, so they're not exactly cruising into this Thursday matchup?
I understand where they're at with that, but when I watch film, Appalachian State's Appalachian State. They're a good football team. When you watch them on offense, they're efficient. They run the ball really well, and they've got a quarterback that really makes plays for them. And so that is definitely a tough challenge for us because they do have such a good plan on offense and running the outside zone and and just hitting their play action passes and taking shots, and the quarterback is very efficient, so it's something that even though they've lost the last two, I don't expect best out of Appalachian State. There's no doubt, and especially what this game is. And then on defense, they've been really, really good these last couple of years, and playing their odd front defense and just the way they scheme things up, and they've done a really good job against the run. And we try to run the football, so obviously this is a big time challenge for us. But I don't expect anything different. I know what this game's about. I've been in a bunch of them, and everybody's going to play their butts off, and it'll be what it is.
You've already had a short week earlier in the season, and you play them. You play App State. I mean, I think 4 years in a row on a Thursday. Does that factor into this at all? Do you dial back practice, or do you do anything terribly different to get ready for this?
I think you gotta. I do think you got to be smart. I mean, you can't overdo things. You got to make sure that you're keeping things simple for your players because it is a short turnaround. Now, in my mind too, you end up losing, 1 day of work that you would normally have, but that's usually just a, kind of a walk-through mental day, which is important. You lose that. So I think it's very key that you do keep it simple for them so that they can, make sure that they feel good about the game plan, and when they walk out on the field, they feel confident and they can play fast.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Steve, thank you very much. And, Coach, those look like all the questions we have for you today. We appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.